Good day, everyone, and welcome back to part two of this Fastman Best Practice. I'm Brian Lapointe, joined by Renita Day, who's an expert ECM consultant from the Fastman Professional Services team. Today, we're going to illustrate a few business scenarios about how the Fastman Extract lets you quickly share content, metadata, taxonomy information with other systems and teams. Okay. Whether migrating content to another system, sharing content files with a third-party custodian, or even exporting content to a cloud for a PII scan, privacy scan, the Fastman Extract application is a fast solution to accomplish your business goals. Okay. To illustrate this, we have several use case demonstrations configured in the Fastman sandbox, which is running Content Suite. One, we're going to target specific content for extraction using our search slices in Content Suite and Extended ECM. Two, we can quickly migrate Extended ECM content to a SharePoint location, Box, Dropbox, or even a network drive, right? Anything as easy as that. We'll talk about that. Thirdly, we're going to show you how you can lock down Extended ECM if you are looking to do some kind of a migration of content from a secured location. We can lock it down to read-only status so people can still access the content, but you can do work as in when you're migrating to some systems and process your extracts. So that's what we're going to show you real time, and excited to do so. And with, I guess with no further ado, let's get started. The Fastman Extract, it's a client-driven application that lets you run it from your PC, and it communicates with Extended ECM via APIs. The good thing here is there's no software server requirements or installation, so it's very simple to deploy, and it works happily with both your on-premise deployments of Content Suite, also known as Extended ECM, and cloud deployments because it runs through the APIs. There's no software to install on any servers. The process can initiate from a folder object ID, and it gives you the option to include the subfolders underneath it. You can then select any network map drive as a destination. And as I said before, this can include your cloud storage systems such as SharePoint, OneDrive, Box, Dropbox, etc. Recently, we've even added the ability to extract filtered results by a search slice. This is great for delta extractions when you've already done the main extraction and then you have to come back later and you can basically grab the delta of what's changed since you did the extraction. And it's also very handy when you just want to target specific content in your Extended ECM. The slice is simply a data collection that one can search against, defined by a template that you already configured in Extended ECM. Also, we can extract versions of metadata such as category and attributes, which is always great to get the metadata. Plus, you get a handy little HTML index file for the simple navigation and reference once you pull it out too. So that's the Fastman Extract. Very handy. Very powerful, very useful. And now I'm going to hand it off to Renita. Would you like to take it away and kind of show us a couple things that you configured in content? Oh, look at this Content Suite right there.
Right. Thank you, Brian. So I've configured 3 scenarios today, and we'll touch upon everything that you mentioned in your previous slide, right? So I'll just get started. I'll not yap about anything else, right? So here I have a folder structure, which actually has a few business workspaces, maybe from SuccessFactors or any other old systems or anything like that. And the challenge is you need to migrate that into SharePoint, right? So I'm going to use my extract tool to do just that. So I'm going to grab the ID from here. That's the data ID of this folder, and that's how my extract tool works. So I've already started something up here. This is the instruction page, gives you a good detail about what fields do, and then based on that, you can kind of like set up your extract, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I want to extract this folder structure, and I want to include the subfolders and documents as well, right? So if we just see here, I have a few documents and I have a few subfolders, right? So I want to, kind of extract this and keep it in SharePoint now. So let's go back. I put my data ID up here. I'm not going to, let me exclude the live report, which I just ran, because I don't want to export a live report to SharePoint. So I'm going to exclude that object type. Oof. And then up here, you can see I have other sections like, do I want to extract the versions? Do I want to extract the metadata and generate the index file? I don't want to do any of that, but I want to extract the latest version into SharePoint just for keeping it there, right? So up here, I have my C drive, users, Anita, and I have synced that SharePoint site in my desktop. So up here, you can see documents, and this is the folder where I want to extract it. So human resources, and I'm just going to click OK and start the run process. It's going to say that it's going to include all the subfolders. Do I want to start the extraction process or not? I'm going to say yes. And just like that, the extract is going to start in a second. So below you can see that it's extracting the items, gives you a little status message up here that whether it's extracting a folder, a document, and there's also a log file actually available that you can access later. Once the extract is completed, it's going to tell you what it has extracted and what were excluded. So I extracted 7 business workspaces, 24 folders, and 21 documents up here, right? And let me go up here. You can see employee records, all my business workspaces up here, the subfolders, and my documents, right? So a very quick and easy way in which you can extract the data up here, right? Now, let's move in to our second solution, which is I want to do an extraction, but in the meantime, I want to make sure that nobody else is able to add things during the migration process, so I don't have to like deal with the delta at a later point of time, right? So I'm going to use another tool of ours, which is the Access Manager, and kind of show you how they work in combination. So I have the corporate services folder up here. This is my migration area profile. You can see this is the subfolder. And up here, for the default group, that means everybody in content server, I have excluded anything which can edit things, right? So now, if I go in here, corporate services, I'm logged in as Renita. Anytime I try to create, add version, delete, modify categories, it's going to give me this error, right? So now, once I have logged the area down, I am happy to kind of like extract the data. So I come in here, go into my extract tool, put in my details up here. Let me include everything. And I'm not worried about delta, so I'm not going to use the filter condition right now. For this one, I want to extract the version in place. That means the versions would be placed in the same directory. And I also want to extract the metadata and generate the HTML file, right? And I don't want that to go into SharePoint, but into normal contents, into my normal folder structure. So here I go, extract, start the run process. And you can see up here, the extraction has started, right? And let me go to the extract folder up here, minimize that a little bit. So corporate services, you can see all the documents, folders, everything's are getting created. And the education folder, the certification folders, and then you can see the XML files, right? So the XML file is nothing but, I should open it in Chrome or Edge is also fine. Is an XML export of that particular node. So for each and every node, whether it's a document, folder, business workspace, you will get this one. And it basically gives you category information, permissions, nicknames, anything that you have configured on the system, right? And this will be a good handy tool to use when you go back and you want to ingest it and keep the metadata as well, right? And the index file that we talked about. So you can see there's an index file up here. Let me open it. You can see this is saying that it's under content services, education, certification folder, which is true up here. And then all the documents which were inside that, link to that document. So is that link here, which is the document up here, and then link to the metadata file, which is the XML file, right? So it gives you that handy tool to navigate to the folder structure and find the relevant information, right? So this would be a really cool tool to extract data with the metadata, and it has all the versions as well included in it, right? So let me move on to my third scenario, where let's say you don't have the access to it, or you have a scenario where you really can't cut off the addition of documents or modification of data while you are doing a migration. So you start a migration today, and then after 10 days, you have a cutoff date when you have to switch over, and you have that delta period in between, right? So for that, we have our new feature, which is using the search slices. And not only for Delta, I think it can be used in a variety of scenarios. It's how you kind of configure it, right? So I have a customer folder here. I've added some documents today, and I want to extract those. And what I've also done here is I've created a custom slice, right? So what does this custom slice do? Let me go to specific. It's only going to extract documents which are of MIME type PDF, right? And this is my custom scenario. It can be anything. It can be based on a category, classification, RM, anything that you see on your custom search slice page up here, right? So you configure your slice up here from advanced search, save it, and then when you log in into your system, you'll see the custom slice up here, right? So you can see this is completed. I am moving to my next scenario. So I'm going to pick up my customer folder. I'm going to place it here. I want to enable filtering. Two things that it's going to do. And in addition with the slices, is going to take the location as a filter criteria and the dates as well. So I'm going to 220 from January 1, 2021 to today, and I'm going to use my custom slices. So apart from these two conditions, the other two conditions, which are PDF documents, are going to get applied when the extraction is happening, right? I want to do a mirror copy this time, and I'm going to run. Up here, you can quickly have a look. That is a complex query with the OT location and the create date filters. And then my custom field also got included, which means that only my first custom document and my second custom PDF document were extracted. So if I go and open my document up, you can see archive because I did a mirror. And then you see the current as well. And then it's the customer folder, the XML file for that, Australia, my first document, and my second document. It didn't create any additional folders or documents because it was done for a specific search criteria, right? So very helpful in Delta, or if you have a specific condition for which you are exporting the data, maybe for a particular vendor or a category value, you can use this to do that, right? And you have option to export all the versions with all the other details like the metadata and other information, right? So I'm going to take a pause. And let's see if you have any questions or anything to add to this simple scenarios.
Yeah, it looks great, Renita. I like how when it extracts that it actually names the files with the content server name of the file itself. So it's not giving you something that's not recognizable. Whatever your content server names are in the system, it gives you that. You know, just for clarification, I know you're running in classic UI of Content Suite. You know, it really has nothing to do with it, but it runs happily in Smart View also. You know, so that's, you know, just that's worthy of mentioning right here. And you know, you could bring, you know, sometimes, like I said, I think that search slice feature that's been added in to be able to target specific information, and then go back and get the deltas if it's needed and so forth. It's just super powerful because so often people have these nested file folder structures business workspaces, and they really just need to get specific things out for a business purpose. They want to share, it could, transmit some information, engineering files, because they want to use it in their ProjectWise system, or they need to share client files. They're basically processing for some form of a custodian, and they want to just get specific client files out of their structure, or so forth. I think it's very useful like that.
Yeah, and you mentioned an important point that it keeps the name, but it's also important to mention that sometimes Content Server allows characters which are not allowed in Windows. So this tool takes care of that as well. So it will replace all your invalid Windows character with delimiter that you want. And also we have that limitation of the file length, full file length in Windows. It should not be exceeding 256 characters or something like that. And when we do the extract, it's actually taking care of that as well. So longer names are kind of like shortened a little bit so that that limitation of Windows is also not breached, and you're still having a successful extract, but you still get the names in your file, which is convenient and good, and also the metadata file, right? So a lot of useful things when we are extracting. So all those things, make sure that you kind of have a successful extract and don't look into, error messages that, hey, this file didn't get extracted because of XYZ reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's a client application, again, very simple. I can see it, anyone having their system in the cloud where they don't have full control. This works right from the APIs. I know we have some customers that we've worked with before that they're actually extracting large amounts of content, actually using the tool, like upwards of like 75,000 objects in a single night. They've been able to kind of extract out. A lot of it depends on the performance of your system too, quite frankly. But yeah, it can be used for small jobs specific to business scenarios, but it can also really lift and shift a good amount of information, and you can see it hands it to you in a nice structured way. One more thought before we wrap it up here, Renita. You're going to show the configuration right here.
Yep. So I just pulled this out because you talked about the API. So you can see here, this is the Content Server URL. What we need is the CWS virtual directory, which is your Surface APIs. This is the slice information that you give. This is the enterprise slice, but it doesn't matter if you have entered something and you want to use something else, because you can select that from the drop down, and then the user and password via which you want to kind of like export the data. So it doesn't have to be an admin. It can be a business admin or a user who can be running it, just that they should have the relevant access, which is CNC content to do the extraction, right? And then once you have that and you log in, you have the screen. All your slices which are available in Content Server would be available to you here. Right?
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
No, I think that's great. Great job, everyone. And let's wrap it up, Renita. And thank you for putting this together for us. I appreciate it. And feel free, please reach out to Fastman for any of your assistance with the extended ECM platform. Thank you.
Thank you.